Welcome back, sippers, sippets. This is another episode of Pour Your Own Problems. I am your host, Mercy. And what I want to discuss this new study from UCLA that targeted masculinity.
Hey, boss, he ain't working.
And so over the course of these last few years, I feel that masculinity has been attacked on every front, especially with our youth and our young men. And this study, it states that Gen Z and Gen Alpha wants to see caring, affectionate dads and vulnerable men in movies and TV. No more of the days of the Rambos or certain Marvel figures that display masculinity. It's almost like now they want to strip us of everything, right? They're wanting to reach out to these TV shows and movie shows when everything that you see on Disney, everything that you see on Netflix is borderline total sensitivity across the board. And so I'm just like baffled that we live in a world where masculinity just can't be appreciated. Yo, you too toxic, you too this, you too. No, that men gonna always be men. And I'm not saying men shouldn't be corrected, men shouldn't be guided, but to strip us of what is innate in us is diabolical. And we see it in our children. We see it in Gen Z. We see it in Gen Alpha. We see the cause and effect of that already. But this is just showing that they're going to continue to pile on this rhetoric. So let's read a little bit from what this was saying. And so it says the Center for Scholars and Storytellers report shows young audiences are rejecting outdated masculine stereotypes. And they're saying it's outdated, but what they're trying to give us is not what men are. And so on this part, it says, today's youth want to see boys and men portrayed on screen showing emotional connection, vulnerability, and moving away from isolation and other masculine stereotypes, according to a new research from the Center of Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA. If I'm not mistaken, we've already done that. We've already seen that movie 10 times out of 10. In the last decade, we've gotten these. So I feel like this study is very disingenuous because it was geared towards people between 15 and 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And so I really don't, I think they're trying to find a solution when it's no solution to be found. They're trying to find a solution to continue trying to define what masculinity is. And when I was reviewing all this information, all I seen was the people who did this survey, who wrote this report. And so let me see if I can pull them up. And so if you're looking at my screen, these are the authors of this this study. And so I don't find it to be particularly masculine. Imagine going to a female therapist or psychiatrist and she's trying to teach you how to be masculine. It's not going to work, man, in my opinion. Like, this is why we need stronger fathers. This is why we need fathers present, because some of the things that I've seen in their study clearly doesn't go there. Like, let's review. Mind you, they starting off from 10 to 24. So I feel like this is just very disingenuous. What movies have y'all not seen of men not enjoying parenting? The only thing that I can really draw from that they may have some some authority on would be men seeking mental health. I think everyone should be seeking mental health. You know, I don't think that there's nothing wrong with that. But these questions clearly are not men driven. These are not men driven things. And so I really think it's just disingenuous, to say the least. Like, when have you seen a movie that a man wasn't showing love to his kids? It has to be a balance. You have to have the Rambos of the world. You have to have the Marvel Blades and things of that nature, or Deadpools. We have to have those. But to quantify this and say we need more of these, no. Look at what's happening in the real world. Look what's happening to our boys in real time. These young men need guidance. These young men need direction. They don't need more movies telling them to express their feelings. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have these things in place. I'm just saying that we don't need more of that on TV. Let's review a video of someone on YouTube by the name of Bounding Into Comics. I think that he articulated this sentiment that I have so well, in that I believe this study was very biased, and it was more female centric than male centric, to say the least.
Concluded here, we'll go back to the article. Her team concluded that young people are asking for a reimagining of how men show up in the lives of others. And the study has, sort of produced this. And she says, whether it is as a father, mentor, coach, or teacher, the message from the audience was the same. Now, Ulz and her team pointed to 2 TV examples, heated rivalry, and, well, it's a gay hockey drama. So again, the peak of masculinity in UCLA might be a little skewed on just what exactly young men around the nation want. But as far as UCLA is concerned, they want more gays on ice. Okay. And then this other one that they mentioned over here was The Pit. Okay. Was The Pit. And The Pit is Grey's Anatomy, but with more skibbity and lit in it, I guess, is a children's production featuring a family, and it comes out of Australia. Little blue dog, and his brother and his family either have local adventures or have imagined adventures. It's very much geared toward kids who have an active imagination, which again is not bad. But as Tony points out here, that Bluey's dad, Bandit, is the gold standard among these young guys. And wouldn't you know, Bandit is a participant in the children's imaginary games. He's not someone that lays down the law all the time, but this character comes through and makes sure that the kids feel like he's a part of their little adventures. And sometimes he gets imaginative with them and gets right along in the party that they're having. Now, again, this is a good thing. I'm not criticizing this. What I'm telling you is that this is an attitude that we can extrapolate out of this to better understand just what everybody's asking for young men, okay? Is that they want men depicted in a positive light. It's that simple. It's really that simple. And again, if you're wondering who Yalda is, here she is, all right? She kind of looks like an older AOC. At least with AOC's drinking, she's going to look like this soon anyway. But anyway, this is Yalda. She's a researcher, speaker, teacher, author on media and kids, former movie exec. She's a POC. How about that? A mom. New initiative bringing science and storytelling, scholars and storytellers.com. Now, again, what I want to drag your attention to, no pronouns. How about that? No pronouns. But again, this person is very much approaching this from a masculinity is bad, and we need to make sure that men behave more feminine attitude. So let's not make any mistake on that one. She's very much in favor of men being feminized and away from the concept of defending life, protecting life, okay?
And I agree with him. If you go to her page or some of the pages that are connected to her, such as the Scholars and Storytellers page on Instagram, you can see that they want that pull from masculinity is beyond crazy. Now you want these movie execs to go further past that. We want more of these type of shows. And I'm just baffled because like, thank God that we're getting a new Scary Movie 6. Hopefully we get back to the core of what comedy is. Like it stated that it's trying to get rid of cancel culture. We're canceling cancel culture. I think it's time for men to counsel the thought process of demasculation of our young men and our men. They don't want little boys to be little boys anymore. They don't want young men to be young men. As he was stating, like, yes, okay, I can understand, Bluey is a good show, positive show for young children. Granted. But we can take that positive stuff and that can be implemented into young men's lives. But at the same time, it comes a time when because the real world is not going to show them understanding. The real world is not going to give them grace. The real world is going to show them in real time that you're a man, suck it up and go and deal with it. And so giving them these false narratives as if that is the way life really is, I think is a bad concept and disingenuous, bar none.
We'll get into that in another episode about all this, because it's very important to understand the difference between protecting life and preserving life. These are very core ideas in the identity of men and women, and it's just not talked about anymore because we can't, or else we're awful, But to further my point on this, okay, I went around and I tried to find this chart here that explains exactly what we're looking at, okay? So this is an NBC News decision desk poll from back in 2024 when the election was happening. Now, of course, things may have changed a little bit, but I don't think so. Now, you see both sides of this are politically stilted, so bear that in mind. But what I want to impress upon you is that men and women are very different right now than they were when we were younger and even further back, okay? So right now, men who voted for the president prioritize having children as their highest priority at 34%, saying that this is a very high priority for them. It's important on a personal level to them, okay? Financial independence is just behind that, a fulfilling job and career, and being married. Now, the rest of this is sort of the trappings of those two things. And I want to make you look over here at the women who voted for the competitor in the last election here, last presidential election. And so for women who voted for that candidate, fulfilling job and career is 51% important to them. That's not to say that it's half important to them. It's that 51% of the respondents said that this was their highest priority in women, okay? Now, moving down the list, having money to do things that they want to do was just behind that at 46%, agreeing that this is a high or almost as high as having a good job, a fulfilling job, okay? Back down below that is having emotional stability, okay? Now, I want to make sure that you drag your attention down here to where they put having children, making a family and a community proud, okay? Owning a home, being grounded, being married, and having children is at the very bottom of their list, with only 6% saying that that is an important thing to them.
I'd recommend getting a genetic methylation test just once in your life. Just once in your life. You'll never need to.
So, yes, men in Gen Z
and so what we're seeing here is that you have to understand that regardless, men and women want different things, but trying to pull our young men into what women want is so asinine and backwards. And this is why they have so many troubles to this day now. This is why Gen Z is having trouble. This is why eventually Gen Alpha will have troubles, because women are trying to make men women. The very thing that they don't want in men, they're making. And so I think this is beautifully executed by Bounding in Comics, because I really we have to understand the correlation of what's going on, because eventually this is a trickle down effect. And I think we need to be aware of it and understand that this is our young men lives are at stake, because We do not think the same. We do not want the same things. And it's okay. But it shouldn't be forced for this shouldn't be something forced.
Gen Alpha are very much engaged in seeing men being fathers, taming into things that are flatly not masculine. And we're creating this idea that men are only violent on the other end of that. And there has to be that nice place in the middle that says, yeah, dad's pretty cool, but he also defends the family. He'll also pull out a laser sword to make sure that we get to soccer practice on time. It's okay to have that dad with that duality, that he's a very kind man, but at a flip of a switch, he turns into Goku and he's ready to go, you know? You have to have that kind of attitude in men because that's what we are. We have that duality. We have that very gentle, kind side that wouldn't hurt a fly, but when our family or our interests are threatened, the Hulk comes out.
And I agree. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about a balance. We have to have some sense of balance. But extrapolating our young men and molding them into what women want is not healthy at all. It has to be a coherent balance. But sippers, sippets, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It's your boy Mercy. I'm out.